What is up, people of YouTube? I'm your host Vernon. This is Delta Marsh. Let's fish that. Alright, ladies and gents, while I was growing up as a youngster, we used to watch some nature documentaries every Sunday on our local TV channels in South Africa. They had on Sunday afternoons, they had a section where they put either a National Geographic special or a BBC program, and I love watching these nature documentaries. Now, the one documentary that I'm thinking of at this moment is the Great Migrations. These are episodes where they looked at the salmon up in Alaska swimming up the creeks, or maybe some big herds of wildebeest running through the Serengeti. You guys know the type of things I'm talking about, big migrations. And even though I learned a lot from those programs, it is an odd thing calling it a great migration, because that implies that there's also a lesser migration, where the actual fact is all migrations are important, whether they are big or small, whether they're close by or far away. All migrations are important to our ecosystems. That is why I wanted to do a video out here at Delta Marsh, because there's a particular migration that happens here every year. And I do have a long video for that. If you haven't seen that, I'll link it in the card up here. Today's video is simply just going to try and getting some fish. Now, the migration that's happening out there is every year, once the water starts warming a little bit, that smallmouth buffalo and drum, that's freshwater drum, they make their way out of Lake Manitoba and try to make their way into the marshes. It's a great place for fish to spawn. Your young fry or little fish are going to stay a lot safer in the marshes, whereas in the big lake they can get eaten by quite a lot of toothy creatures out there. So the migration is these fish making their way out of there and trying to get into the marshes. I'm saying trying to because there's a particular wall here, and it's this particular channel that there's actually a gate on the bridge. They close these gates to stop the fish going into the marshes. Now, the simple reason for this is because we have quite a lot of carp in these waters as well, and the carp also want to migrate up into the marshes. If they're spawning in the marshes, they might actually destroy the marshes. That is why they have these gates, trying to stop as many of these fish as they can going into the marsh. Now, the result in this is all of the fish kind of schooled together in this one little channel. Now, that's where we're going to target these fish. We're going to use simple little plastic swim baits, see if we can get any fish. Yeah. Alright, so this is the wife's first little drum. So we want to measure him. Got him on a little bait fish imitation. Alright, so that's an 18.5-inch drum. Nice little guy. Get him back to the water. And off he goes. I'm fight nog. Hij is nog niet op de surface.
Carp? Oh, maybe bigger.
Ah, fine. Yes.
Spicy.
Strong.
It's like a big carp.
Mm.
Oh, lots of beauty.
Oh, put on that mat for me, please. Alright, that's a 31-inch. Guys, leg hem nou eens niet te lakken. Alright, that's a 7 kilogram.
Sorry.
No,
Sorry. 7 kilo.
Alright, so that is a 7 kilogram, 31-inch carp. Nice, decent carp. Let's get him back to the water. Anyone keeping carp?
Хлопці спрашивают, кому надо карту. Oh, sorry.
Right, on second thought, because carp are invasive, another fisherman actually wants him, so we're not going to release this one. We'll give this to another person. Alright, so not the biggest of drum, but a tiny little drum landed as well. You can see, got nice and hooked in the corner of the mouth there. So that's a little 17-inch drum. Gonna get him back to the water. And off he goes. Just quickly want to. Yeah. Alright, so once again, a decent carp. This one's lip is bleeding a bit from where the hook got him, but we'll just quickly try and get him out of the net. Not going to measure this one. Again, we have someone that's going to keep the fish. Because this is a carp, no problem giving it away.
it's a long one. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
Alright, yeah, nice one.
Alright guys, so the body of water behind me, this is the actual Delta Marsh. Thought I'll do a little outro here at the marsh itself, so we have something different to see. Now, one thing I would like to point out is that this migration thing, this actually happens due to the water temperatures. When the temperatures are perfect, these fish head up to go and spawn. So there is a very small window where you have all of these fish schooled together in this one particular space. And today is actually the second last weekend of the month of May, and I think the waters aren't quite right yet. We had quite a lot of fish around and people still caught a lot of fish, but the action wasn't as crazy. I think the waters are still a little bit too cold, not that many fish around. Even still had some walleye in the area. Some people actually caught walleye. I think another week or two, maybe the fishing would be rather good. But when it comes to the fishing, like you saw, I have no problem with giving out carp, giving the carp to people that want to keep them, for the simple reason carp are a nuisance. You're not going to be able to get rid of all of the carp. Once they are in the body of water, they're pretty much in there. You won't be able to get rid of them. But I do feel it's important that we give fish like the freshwater drum or the buffalo, we should release those fish, maybe give the native fish a fighting chance. Now, alongside that, I also want to point out that this is a particularly popular spot. There's always going to be people around doing some fishing, so be conscious of other people, share the space that's available, and fish with people. It's always good to give someone a helping hand if they need it. We did get a few fish out there at least. Most of them sadly got snagged. Like I said, I don't think they're feeding at the moment, so most of them actually got snagged, but a few of them we got hooked in the mouth at least. So still a fun time out there, and I hope you would at least give me a thumbs up for the fish we did get. Feel free to ask any questions down below in the comments. And if you're new to the channel, consider hitting subscribe, joining my community. Alright guys, but thanks for watching, and like always, I'll see you next time.